His dad killed him.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2013 horror sequel, Hatchet 3. The film is written by Adam Green, but this time we have a new director, Beji McDonnell, and it stars Danielle Harris, Kane Hodder, Zach Galligan, Caroline Williams, Parry Shen, Derek Mears, Sean Warren, Jason Trost, and John Michael Sudol. Right, okay, so this is following on directly from the end of Hatchet 2. So it follows in tradition after the first one. So the second one followed directly after the first one, and this one follows directly after the second one. So Danielle Harris has killed Victor Crowley, or so she thinks. It did seem pretty definitive, I have to be honest. She heads back to town with a shotgun in her hand and covered in blood, walks into the police station where she is understandably placed in custody, hosed down from all the blood, placed in custody, and the sheriff, played by Zach Galligan, yes, that is him from Gremlins, tries to get some answers, and all he can really ascertain is that she has survived an attack by Victor Crowley, but there are many deaths. Now, obviously, he doesn't believe this. He thinks she's the killer, but a load of law enforcement head out to Victor Crowley's vicinity, find a mountain of dead bodies, and guess what? They're due to become future victims of Victor Crowley, but guess what? He's not dead. So he preys on these police. Danielle Harris makes her way back to the island to face her past. Right, what are my thoughts on Hatchet 3? Well, I mean, it's very much more of the same, and I'm not saying that as a negative, really. I mean, if you've been following my reviews on the Hatchet films, I'd never seen any of the Hatchet films before, and then I watched the first one. I quite enjoyed it. I thought, it was a perfectly watchable and enjoyable, slasher film with lots of creative and gory deaths in it. Second one, very much of the same ilk, it just upped the violence and the gore a little bit. And that's really what we get here. I mean, my biggest complaint with this film is we really do need a new setting here. We can't just keep sending people back to Victor Crowley's swamp for him to basically dismember every person that's ever lived or breathed within like a 20-mile radius. But this is what we keep doing. And I suppose, there is an argument to be made, is if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of thing. But it does really just feel like these films are just carbon copies of each other. Just different faces getting slaughtered by Victor Crowley. So, I mean, while it's not a massive complaint, because if you've enjoyed the first two Hatchet films, this is consistently as solid as the first two, in my opinion. It follows the tradition of putting horror legends or icons in the movie. Obviously, we've got Danielle Harris from the Halloween franchise, Kane Hodder from he played Jason Voorhees, as we know. We've got Zach Galligan from Gremlins. And then we've got Derek Mears turns up in this, who played Jason in the 2009 remake, I think. And there's other familiar faces. I would imagine there's a whole host of faces turn up in this that have got direct links to horror franchises. So it's definitely tipping its hat to horror franchises and horror in general. And I like that. It's, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It is, genuinely gory. and quite wince-inducing to kind of see these people get dismembered in consistently inventive ways. Victor Crowley, and actually in this one, seemed a little bit more menacing to me. And that was because, I don't know if it was the director this time around, being a new director, he kind of gave him like a growl. And I don't remember him having like a growl in the first two films. So you can kind of hear him as well, Victor. And he's, it does sound pretty menacing. So it's kind of adds a new layer to his presence, if that makes any sense. And he's just as bonkers as he's ever been in regards to, decapitating. And, they keep, I don't know, they keep kind of like trying to add to the legend of Victor Crowley. I mean, this time round, the big plan is to get the ashes of his father that apparently somebody has. And obviously, the person that has these ashes of Victor Crowley's father is another horror legend that you'll remember, or you'll recognise, who is no longer with us. And this journalist thinks that these ashes will be the answer to the end of Victor Crowley. And the only person that can deliver these ashes is Danielle Harris's character, with her links to Victor Crowley, or her father's links to Victor Crowley. So, I mean, it's weak. The plan to kill Victor Crowley in all these films has kind of been weak, and it does seem a little bit daft, that he got his face completely and utterly mashed to pieces in the last film. That, even Jason couldn't come back from that. And he just kind of resurfaces. This whole myth of him being like this thing that can't die until, I don't know, whatever idea they come up in each film to kind of kill him. So, I mean, the film is very much aware that the main thing to be shown here of entertainment is the slaughters, the killing, the dismemberments, the gore, the blood, the all that kind of stuff. And if that's your bag, if that's what you like to watch, this film definitely doesn't disappoint in that area. So I can't really separate the first three films. They're all essentially, in a lot of ways, the same film three times. It's the same location, same things are happening in it. Victor Crowley Swamp, people getting slaughtered and dismembered, and people just keep going back there for whatever reason. So, I mean, I know there's one more to go, and I will be watching it. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've not disliked any of these films. Like I say, I think I've scored each of them 6 out of 10. I think they're all kind of consistently watchable, if not memorable, sort of thing. And I've said this before. I says I can understand why this franchise never really took off to the levels of Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and Halloween and all that kind of stuff. It's just not in their league, if you like, but it certainly does what you expect it to do. It does what it says on the tin, and there is some fun to be had. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Hatchet 3. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen it. Let me know what I can expect with the fourth one, Victor Crowley, and I will see you back on the channel with another review very, very soon.